Once upon a time in Banana Island, there lived a happy couple, Christabel and Michael. They were university sweethearts who had big dreams of building a successful business and raising a beautiful family after their wedding. Life was good, and everything seemed to be going perfectly. Exactly 2 months into their marriage, Christabel got pregnant. She worked as a banker, and Michael was an engineer and realtor. They had always talked about how excited they were to have children, taking family photos, going on vacations, building memories together. But nothing had prepared them for the reality of raising children, not to talk of twin boys. When the babies arrived, Christabel quickly realized that motherhood wasn't a fairy tale. She wasn't ready for the endless diaper changes, the sleepless nights, and the non-stop crying. Her mother had died when she was a child, so she had no one to rely on for support. Michael's mother, on the other hand, was old and frail. Though she visited occasionally, Christabel didn't want to burden her. One night, when the babies wouldn't stop crying, Christabel turned to Michael. "Michael, can you please help with the other baby? I'm so tired and I've been breastfeeding all night," she said. But Michael simply got up, covered his ears with a pillow, and muttered, "Babe, you know, I have a big presentation tomorrow. Please manage. I really need to get some sleep." And with that, he pulled the blanket over his head and went back to sleep. Tears welled up in Christabel's eyes, but she didn't argue. She gently tried to soothe the babies and put them back in their crib. After 4 months of maternity leave, she decided to return to work. She needed a change of environment. Another day at home might drive her crazy. But balancing work and motherhood was no joke. At work, she struggled to focus. She entered wrong figures, forgot customer requests, and soon her boss began to complain. "Miss Christabel, you're frustrating the customers. What's going on with you?" But deep down, Christabel knew motherhood was draining her. She felt like a shadow of herself. One evening, she tried to talk to Michael about how she was feeling. "Babe, I don't think I can handle everything anymore. I'm messing up at work and I'm exhausted. It's all just too much." Michael shrugged, scrolling through his phone as he ate. "That's simple. Why don't you just get a nanny? Problem solved." Christabel hesitated. "But babe, the idea of leaving my babies with a stranger worries me." "Well, you'll have to look into it," he replied, clearly uninterested. Eventually, Christabel found relief in hiring a nanny, a young lady in her early 20s who came highly recommended by friends and colleagues. After the necessary background checks and health screening, she was hired. That Monday morning, Christabel kissed her babies goodbye, gave the nanny instructions, and left for work. But her mind remained uneasy. Something just didn't feel right. After work, she rushed home before the babies sleep, but surprisingly, the babies were already asleep. "How was today?" she asked the nanny. "Oh, they were perfect, Ma. They didn't cry at all. They ate everything and slept well," the nanny replied. Christabel nodded slowly, but something felt off. Her babies usually cried a lot. This sudden change didn't sit well with her. During lunch the next day, she spoke to her colleague, Pearl, about her instinct. "Pearl, I don't feel right about my nanny. I'm not at peace. I feel my babies are not in good hands." "Then why don't you install a camera in the baby's room and connect it to your phone?" Pearl suggested. "Can I actually do that?" Christabel asked, surprised. "Yes, of course. I'll help you." Pearl came over with an installer and helped install cameras in the nursery. Christabel connected them to her phone and finally felt a bit more relaxed. The next day, during her lunch break, she opened the camera app and her worst fears were confirmed. The nanny was sprawled on the couch, scrolling and laughing on her phone, while the babies cried in the background. Christabel's chest burned with anger. That evening, she fired the nanny immediately. "Babe, my instincts were right. That nanny was absolutely useless," she told Michael as he walked through the door. "Then I think you should resign, Christabel," Michael replied. "At least until we find someone trustworthy to help with the kids. It's for the best." Christabel's heart sank. She loved her job, but she couldn't deny the truth. She said her final goodbyes at work and resigned to stay home to take care of the children. Staying at home was very relaxing. Christabel managed the house and cared for the babies while Michael continued to excel at work. He often came home excited, sharing news of promotions and office gossip. "Babe, guess what?" Michael said one evening. "I got promoted." "Oh, babe, That's amazing. I'm happy for you, Christabel replied with a smile, though her heart felt heavy. She had always dreamed of that kind of success too. She never imagined motherhood would cost her so much. So this continued for some time until one Saturday morning, while preparing breakfast, she saw Michael dressing up. Christabel, I have to go to Abuja for a work trip. I'll be gone for 2 weeks, he said. But babe, I need help this weekend. The kids have a fever. I was hoping you'd take them to the hospital so I could rest. Christabel, I can't miss this meeting. It's a huge opportunity. Be strong. Other mothers do it, and so can you. And with that, he picked up his suitcase and left, without looking back. Worse still, he didn't call once to check on Christabel or the children. When Michael returned, Christabel confronted him. Michael, do you know how inconsiderate that was? You left us sick, alone, and didn't even bother to call. It's like we don't exist to you. Michael barely responded. He brushed it off, smiling on the phone. Months passed and Christabel had another baby, a girl. But staying home was taking a toll on her mental health. One night, after putting the kids to bed and cleaning the house, she finally sat down and said, Michael, I've been thinking. I want to go back to work, even if it's just part-time. Michael glanced up from his laptop, frowned. It's in your own hands. Whatever you do is in your own hands. I honestly don't care. Christabel laid in bed that night, feeling like a prisoner in her own home. A woman whose only role was to give birth and raise children for a man who treated her like a stranger. With the change in Michael's behavior and the stress from home, she began eating more, sometimes even when she wasn't hungry. The weight crept on and soon, her clothes didn't fit. Michael didn't notice. He came home late, ate outside, and spent most evenings glued to his laptop or phone. Neighbors began whispering. People looked at Christabel like a woman slowly fading away in her husband's house. Michael asked for Christabel to cook for him and his friends, and as she finished setting the table for the cookout Michael was hosting, she rushed to the bedroom to change into something nice. What do you think you're doing? Michael snapped. I'm dressing up to meet your friends. Which dress do you prefer, black or red? You're not stepping out of that room until I say so. Do you want my friends to laugh at me? Have you seen what you look like? Fat and dirty. But I'm your wife, Michael. Why would you talk to me like this? If I couldn't have children, you'd be the same person calling me barren. I don't have time for this, Christabel. Just stay in here and take care of the kids. Make sure they don't cry. This time, Christabel truly broke down. The rejection, the loneliness, the pain, it all crashed down on her. But she swallowed her tears for her children. Things continued like this until one day, after a very stressful afternoon, she overheard Michael on the phone. Ben, I just want something fresh. I don't feel any connection anymore. Can't you see all these young girls with nice figures? Christabel froze. Michael, what did you just say? You want something new? After everything I've done for this family? You barely speak to me, and this is what you're saying to your friend? Michael raised his voice. Christabel, I'm tired. You've let yourself go. You're fat. You're not attractive. You look dirty all the time. I can't do this anymore. Tears rolled down Christabel's cheeks. Do you know how hard it's been for me? I barely sleep. I barely even recognize myself anymore. But you? You've never helped me since I gave birth. How do you expect me to keep going like this, alone? Michael said nothing. He picked up his phone and walked out, leaving her standing there, shattered. The next morning, Christabel went to visit her work colleague, Jessica. As soon as she saw her, she broke down. Jessica, I can't do this anymore. I'm living in hell. He's making me lose my confidence. He called me ugly and fat. Jessica, look at me. Am I ugly? Do I smell? Do I make you uncomfortable? Jessica held her tightly. No, Christabel. You're one of the strongest women I've ever known. I admire you so much. There's a daycare in Lekki Estate. They're amazing. This could give you time to focus on yourself. I'll help you every step of the way. Thank you so much, Jessica. I really appreciate it. Christabel visited the daycare and was impressed. The staff were friendly and the environment was clean and safe. She enrolled the children in the school. In the mornings, after dropping them off, she began going for runs. She changed her diet and began taking good care of herself. 6 months later, Christabel barely recognized the woman in the mirror. She had lost weight, felt healthier, and finally she felt alive again. A few months later, she secured a high-paying job with flexible hours that allowed her to still be present for her children. While Christabel was waking up at 5 a.m. to jog before taking the kids to daycare, Michael was jet skiing with another woman in Zanzibar. Every time Christabel saw their pictures on Instagram, her stomach twisted, but she refused to react. "You're better than this," she would whisper to herself. "You're doing this for you and your kids, not for revenge." At her new job, Christabel kept things professional, but there was one person she found easy to talk to, Emmanuel. He was kind, funny, and surprisingly respectful. It started with friendly chats at work. Then one day, after a school emergency with the twins, she asked him for help, and he came. He didn't just come and sit. He carried one of the boys, helped wipe a runny nose, fed the other dinner, and even helped wash plates when Christabel got busy. "You don't have to do this," Christabel said shyly, wiping her hands on a towel. "I know," Emmanuel replied, smiling, "but I want to." "You deserve help, Christabel. You've done more than most women I know." Those words melted something in her. For the first time in years, she felt seen. One Friday evening, Michael came home unannounced. Christabel was laughing in the kitchen while Emmanuel helped the boys color at the dining table. Michael froze at the door. He stood there watching his wife laugh like a woman who had forgotten he even existed. "Good evening," Emmanuel said politely, rising to shake his hand. Michael ignored the hand. "Who are you?" "Michael," Christabel warned. "He's my colleague and a friend." Michael's jaw clenched. "Friend? In my house?" "Yes, your house that you left for trips with side chicks while I was drowning in diapers." Emmanuel politely excused himself and left. That night, Michael didn't speak, but inside, a storm was brewing. Alone in his car the following day, Michael stared at himself in the mirror. "Am I losing her?" he thought. "To someone who actually treats her well, who sees her, respects her?" He didn't say it out loud, but for the first time, fear crept into his heart. And every day after that, things got worse between them. Anytime Christabel tried to talk, it became a fight. Doors slammed, voices rose, the kids cried. Michael would usually sleep in the guest room. Days turned into weeks, until one evening the twins got into a fight and accidentally hurt each other. The silence that followed was heavy. "We're destroying each other," Christabel whispered, "and our kids are watching." Michael finally agreed to go to marriage counseling. The first few sessions were hard. The truth was bitter. But little by little, they began to understand themselves. Michael cried when the counselor asked, "Why did you marry Christabel?" "Because she was my everything, and I lost sight of that." Christabel said, "I just wanted to be loved, Michael. I needed you to see me, not just as a mother, but as your wife, your friend." They left the last session holding hands, for the first time in years. Michael took Christabel and the kids to the mall and then to the park. He carried one twin, held the other's hand, and helped them pick their toys. Later that evening, he pulled Christabel aside. "Thank you for not giving up on us." Christabel smiled softly. "We're not there yet, Michael, but we're walking together." And that night, for the first time in a long time, they both slept peacefully in the same bed as husband and wife. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope you liked it. Marriage isn't perfect, and neither are people. But when ego is replaced with humility and silence with understanding, healing can happen.